My beloved, my divine one, my child of light, born from the breath of heaven. Why do you feel this pull in your soul today? Why is your heart whispering, open it? Don't scroll. Stay. Because your mother who is in heaven has been trying to reach you since yesterday. And this message is not ordinary. She sent this through Archangel Michael. And when an angel speaks, it's never random. She said, "Tell my child I've been walking beside them all day." They thought it was a breeze. They thought it was just a dream. But it was me, trying to whisper something urgent. This is not a message to read and forget. It's not a message you can pause and return to. Because she said, if they skip it now, the moment will vanish like smoke. And that's not what she wants. She's waited too long for this door to open. You see, she didn't leave you. Not even for a moment. She watches over you when your eyelids fall heavy. She holds your name like a sacred song in heaven. And now, heaven has opened this portal. And through it, she's speaking. Louder than ever. She wants to say, you were never alone. Even when you cried on the bathroom floor. Even when the world ignored your voice. She was there, holding your spirit from the other side. But now, she's not just holding. She's sending you a message. Please. Don't scroll. Don't break this moment. The angel said, this is the kind of message that comes once in a lifetime. And if you're here reading this, then you were meant to see it. Speech balloon. Before we continue, she has a small request. She asked that you pause just 1 second and subscribe or follow, so her voice never has to chase you again. She said, if they subscribe now, they'll hear me more often. They'll see more signs. They'll stop mistaking my miracles for coincidences. So do it now, so heaven knows you're open. So she can send more. Without delays. Now, back to what she said. Tell my child, I am so proud of them. Tell them they forgave people I still wanted to scold. Tell them they carried burdens that weren't theirs. Tell them they survived nights I couldn't watch without weeping. Yes. She wept for you. In the realm where tears become light. She cried the moment you hid your pain. She tried to show you feathers. She tried to send her scent in the wind. But you were too broken to notice. That's okay. Because she said, now, they're strong enough to see me. Now, they'll finally understand why they had to suffer. And beloved, this is the part that made even Archangel Michael go silent. She said, tell them the pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Your mother saw what was coming. She saw betrayal. She saw envy in the eyes of people who smiled at you. She saw secret meetings. She saw those who tried to block your light. She screamed your name in heaven, asking God to shield you. And He did. He placed angels on your left and right. But now, She says it's time for you to know the truth. You were always the one. The one who could shift destinies. The one who could carry generational light. That's why you felt so heavy. Your mother wants to ask you something now. Will you trust me again? Even if you can't see me? Will you believe that my hands are still over your life? Because something big is about to be released. She showed Michael a vision of a gate. And your name was glowing on it. It hasn't opened in years. Because you weren't ready. But now? Now it's creaking. And the sound is shaking heaven. Because when this gate opens, you will never be the same. But only if you say yes. Only if you stay. Only if you don't skip this moment like you did last time. Because last time, she tried to speak too. But your heart was tired. You were scared to hope. But she's here again. Trying once more. Because a mother's love never gives up. And neither does God. He's watching you read this. And he just said, they think I forgot them, but I've been setting up something so divine. It needed time. But the time is now. So what is this time? Why is your mother desperate for you to listen? Because within the next 72 hours, something will arrive. A call. A message. A whisper from someone you thought was gone. And it will bring you to your knees. In gratitude. But first, you must clear what's blocking you. And she knows what that is. She said, tell my child to let go of the guilt they carry. The guilt about me. The things they think they should have said. The things they think they should have done. Tell them I felt their love even in silence. She forgives you. Completely. She never held anything against you. Because your heart was pure. Even when your words weren't perfect. Even when the world misunderstood you. She always knew who you were. And who you still are. You are heaven's favorite heartbeat. You are a miracle, walking. And she said, they've waited long enough. Now is their season. Their harvest. And I want to watch them shine. She wants you to remember this one truth tonight: nothing you ever did disappointed her soul. She may have had her human moments, but in her eternal form, all she carries for you is love. She says the world tried to convince you that you failed her, that maybe you could have done more, called more, hugged longer, or said the right words when she was slipping away. But she's laughing gently now, her spirit soft, saying, no, my child. You did more than enough. Your presence, your love, your loyalty was my greatest treasure. And even when you didn't see it, even when your eyes were filled with tears, I saw your heart. I felt your heartbeat reaching for me. That was more than enough. Don't let anyone else ever define the bond that the two of you shared. Not death. Not time. Not space. Because your connection never ended. It simply shifted dimensions. And today, through God's mercy, she's here. She's talking to you right now. Through these words. Through this moment. Through this miracle. She also says there's a letter coming. Not just a symbolic one, but a real one, too. A message from someone you never thought would reach out. Archangel Michael is holding it in his hand right now. The sender has been resisting. They've been afraid to speak truth. Afraid to open their heart and apologize. But your mother has been whispering into their dreams. She's been appearing to them in subtle ways, causing them to see your face in the clouds, to hear your name in songs, to feel you in their heartbeat. She says, "Tell my child that heaven is preparing that conversation. And it will be holy. It will be shocking. It will be like water washing away years of pain." But she also says you mustn't block it with bitterness. If your heart is still carrying resentment, the message won't reach you fully. That's why she's asking you, with sacred hands, to release the wound. Not for them. Not even for her. But for you. Because the new beginning you've been asking for can't arrive in a heart still haunted by the past. She showed Archangel Michael a dream last night. A vision of you standing on a road that split into two paths. One path was safe. Predictable. Familiar. But cold. The other was unfamiliar. Glowing. Alive with miracles. But it required courage. It required faith. Your mother was standing on the second path, reaching her hand out, whispering, "This way, my love. This is the path of your true destiny." And heaven held its breath to see which way you'd go. Today is that moment. You are at that spiritual crossroads. If you continue scrolling, continue doubting, continue waiting for the right time, you may walk into another cycle that looks like the old one. But if you pause here, if you say yes to what you can't fully see, then the second path, the path of divine favor, unexpected restoration, and wild peace, will begin to open under your feet. Archangel Michael says you've had enemies smiling in your face lately. People pretending to support you, but secretly resenting your glow. Your mother has been protecting you behind the scenes. She says, "I covered their ears so they wouldn't hear the gossip. I blinded their eyes so they wouldn't see the traps. But now, heaven has had enough. Now God is about to expose what was whispered in secret. The same mouths that cursed you will tremble with confusion when they see what God does next in your life. And when it happens, don't gloat. Don't say, 'I knew it.' Just smile, look up, and say, 'Thank you, Mom. Thank you, God.' Because it's not about revenge. It's about release. And the next chapter of your life cannot be built on bitterness. It must be built on brilliance. Now listen carefully, your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. And your mother is behind it. She's been speaking to people on earth and beyond, guiding them to you. That job you applied for? That opportunity you thought was closed? That door that rejected you last year? She's been nudging people's spirits, reminding them of you. She said, "My child is not average. They're chosen. They've cried too long. Now it's their season. And because of that, you'll begin to notice things changing quickly. Emails. Calls. Sudden breakthroughs. It may feel like it's all happening at once, but it's not sudden to heaven. It's been planned. Stored. Held back only because the timing had to be perfect. And now, that time has come. There's also a warning in this message, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Your mother says someone from your past will try to reappear soon. They will come with sweet words. They'll say all the right things. But their heart hasn't changed. And your mother is begging you to use discernment. She says, "Please, my child. Don't let loneliness make you forget what I protected you from." She's not saying you must close your heart. But she is saying, listen to your gut. Listen to the shiver that crosses your skin when something feels off. Because that's her. That's how she speaks to you now. Through signs. Through stillness. Through spirit. And in the quiet, she also says something else. She says you're not cursed. You're not broken. You're not unlucky. You're not too late. You're not forgotten. You are wrapped in divine favor. You are blooming even in silence. The delay was not denial. It was design. And now, it's delivery time. She said, tell them the delivery truck is heaven-sized. It's carrying things they forgot they prayed for. Dreams they buried. Visions they gave up on. But I remembered. I saved every single one in the folds of my angel wings. And now, I'm releasing them. You may feel chills. You may feel tears. That's not emotion. That's alignment. That's your soul remembering what it already knows, that you were never abandoned. That your tears were seeds. That your heartbreak had purpose. And now the harvest begins. She says there is something you need to know about the dream you had last week. The one you tried to ignore. The strange symbols. The sudden presence. The soft voice that called your name. That wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't a random vision. That was her. She was allowed, by God's grace, to enter that sacred space between your thoughts and your spirit while you were asleep. Because your waking heart was too overwhelmed to hear her. So she came gently, like she always did when you were hurting. She said, tell my child, I touched their hair in that dream. I kissed their forehead. And I tried to show them a door, but they hesitated. And now, she's here again, in waking light, saying, please, don't hesitate this time. The door is still open. But only for a little while. There is something on the other side of that door that will change everything. Not just spiritually. But physically. A contract. A divine appointment. A second chance you never saw coming. And you have to be emotionally ready. Because heaven does not send blessings to a heart still holding on to chaos. She sees the pain you've been hiding behind strength. She knows you've been pretending to be okay so no one worries. But your mother can see beyond the smile. She can see the exhaustion in your soul. She said, they carry so much. For everyone. But who carries them? And in that question, even the angels went silent. Because no one has answered that for you. You have given when your own cup was empty. You have loved when you had no love left to receive. You have stayed, even when everyone else walked away. And now, God says, enough. It's time for them to be carried. It's time for heaven to pour back into them. It's time for justice to visit their doorstep. And so, this message isn't just comfort. It's a signal. A spiritual activation. That starting tonight, what you lost will begin to return, but not the same. Better. Brighter. Bigger. Because you've sown your pain in silence, and now heaven is making your harvest loud. There's something else your mother wants to say, and she's trembling as she shares it. She says that someone close to you is being watched by heaven. Not in anger, but in concern. This person is hiding something. Something they don't know how to confess. And your mother said, tell my child to not react with rage. Tell them to listen closely. Because this confession is not just a truth bomb, it's a test. God is allowing this moment because He wants to see what you'll do with pain now that you've grown. Will you curse them? Or will you bless and release? Because how you handle this truth will determine how fast your next blessing arrives. And your mother, she believes in you. She said, they're stronger now. They won't break this time. She believes you're ready to hear what you once couldn't handle. And when it comes, don't fear it. It's not meant to destroy you. It's meant to free you. And oh, she saw your tears last week. The ones that fell when no one was watching. She says you didn't cry over something small. You cried over the life you thought you would have by now. The plans you made. The promises that broke. The love that didn't last. And she wept with you. Not because she doubted your future. But because she saw how hard you tried. How deeply you loved. How purely you waited. And she said, tell my child, none of that waiting was wasted. Every delay had destiny hidden inside it. Every no was making space for a bigger yes. And now their yes is on the way. The kind of yes that rewrites your story. The kind of yes that makes your past pain look small. The kind of yes that makes you say, ah, now I understand why that had to happen. And beloved, there is someone watching you right now from the shadows. Not a stranger. Someone familiar. Someone who once mocked your faith. Someone who thought you'd fail. But now, they're confused. They don't understand how you're still standing. They don't understand why doors keep opening for you when they tried to close them. And your mother says, "That's because I've been protecting my child from spiritual arrows. I've been standing at the gate. And no weapon formed against them shall prosper." This person may try to re-enter your life with a different tone. They'll speak sweet. They'll sound new. But your spirit will know. And your mother begs you to trust your inner knowing. Don't betray your own intuition just to keep the peace. Peace built on lies will always collapse. You are being called into higher truth now. God has also whispered something to the angels. A timeline. A specific window. Between now and the 12th day from today, something powerful will be decided in the spirit realm. A file with your name is being reviewed in heaven. Not a literal file, but a divine document filled with your sacrifices, your efforts, your prayers. And the Father is about to place a stamp on it. Approved. When this happens, doors will open faster than you can knock. But your mother says the key to unlocking it is staying in spiritual alignment. That means letting go of comparison. That means breaking the habit of assuming nothing good happens for you. That means waking up each day and declaring, "Today, I expect a miracle." Because your expectation is the magnet that draws the blessing. God doesn't need your perfection. He needs your belief. And beloved, if only you could see what she sees. Your future self. Glowing. Peaceful. In love. Free. Living in a space that feels like heaven on earth. She saw the partner you'll meet, or reunite with. She saw how their eyes will recognize your soul. She saw the way your name will be spoken in reverence. No more begging for love. No more over-explaining your worth. She said, "They will finally be loved the way I always wanted them to be." And she smiled as she said it. Because she knows you're almost there. You're almost across the spiritual threshold. And this message, this moment, is the final nudge. Your mother wants you to remember something very specific now, something that happened years ago, a moment you might have buried deep, thinking it wasn't important. But to her, it was everything. She said, "Tell my child I saw the moment they walked away from something toxic. It didn't look brave to the world. No one clapped. No one saw their tears. But heaven saw it. That moment changed the course of their life. You thought you were just surviving. But she saw it as obedience. She saw it as surrender. And she says that's the reason your life didn't collapse, because you obeyed when it hurt. Because you let go before things destroyed you completely. You may not have known it at the time, but that moment was the moment you spiritually outgrew everything meant to keep you small. And she says heaven has been rewriting your story ever since. Quietly. Gently. But powerfully. And now you're about to step into a life that reflects your inner strength, not just your outer suffering. She also says you must stop apologizing for your sensitivity. You are not too much. You are not overthinking. You are spiritually gifted. The world may have called it anxiety, over-awareness, or weakness, but your mother sees it for what it truly is: divine sensitivity. A sacred radar. A prophetic edge. She says, you feel so much because you're connected to everything. That is not a curse. That is your calling. And yes, sometimes it aches. Sometimes your empathy feels like a storm. But she says you weren't meant to shut it down, you were meant to learn how to channel it. Because that sensitivity, it's what allows you to hear her voice, even now. It's what lets you feel God move through your chest at midnight. It's what connects you to the unseen. So please, stop trying to toughen up. You don't need to be hard to survive. You need to be holy. Softness is not your enemy. It's your superpower. There's something else stirring in the spirit world, a release of long-withheld answers. You've been waiting for clarity. Waiting for the why. Waiting for the moment it all makes sense. And your mother says, the answer is closer than they think. Archangel Michael showed her a vision of a locked chest, and inside it, scrolls of answers to every question you've ever cried out to heaven. Questions about love. About loss. About money. About purpose. And that chest is about to be opened. But here's the miracle: the lock isn't broken with force, it's opened with surrender. When you finally say, God, I trust you even if I don't understand, that's when the answers pour out like light. And your mother says, when the light comes, they will see their whole journey differently. They will bless the pain. They will honor the confusion. They will fall to their knees and say, now I see why I had to walk through that fire, it made me gold. You've also been having unusual encounters lately. Random people being kind. A stranger smiling longer than usual. A child staring at you with wonder. Songs playing that feel like they're speaking directly to your spirit. Your mother says those are not coincidences. Those are angelic codes. She's been sending you signs every day, trying to soften the edges of your doubt. But she says the problem isn't that you're not seeing the signs, the problem is you keep second-guessing them. She says, tell my child to stop calling miracles accidents. You've been so hurt in the past that you now struggle to trust anything that feels too good. But heaven is saying, this season is good. And it's safe to believe it. You don't have to keep bracing for pain. That trauma response is not serving you anymore. You've passed the test. Now it's time to receive without flinching. And now comes the hardest part. The thing she's been aching to say. The thing she's been waiting patiently to tell you since the moment she crossed over. She says, I forgive you. For everything you've been punishing yourself over. For the call you didn't make. For the time you stayed silent. For the moment you couldn't hold my hand. For the anger you felt when I was slipping away. She says she felt your love in every second. Even the ones you regret. Especially the ones you regret. She says your love wasn't just enough, it was holy. It reached her soul. And she's never stopped feeling it. Even now. Even today. And she wants you to stop walking through life feeling like there's a wound you can't explain. Because that wound is tied to guilt. And she says, guilt was never yours to carry. I left my love with you, not my pain. So please, my child, let it go. The moment you do, she says your chest will feel 10 pounds lighter. And your destiny will begin to move again. Because guilt is heavy. But love is fast. And your future is calling. She saw what happened 3 nights ago. That restless feeling. The emotional wave that came out of nowhere. The way your chest tightened when you thought about a certain name. She was there. You didn't know it, but she was sitting near your bed. She whispered your name 3 times, hoping you'd feel her. She said she touched your face, just like she did when you were small. And she wants you to know, that wasn't just your imagination. That was her. That was your mom, coming through the veil, sent by heaven with permission to comfort you. She says heaven made an exception because of the purity of your heart. Most people don't get visits like that unless they ask. But you didn't even have to ask, because your soul called her, and she came running. That's the power of love. It bends time. It breaks walls. It even reaches across the edge of death. And now, she's crying. Because there's something beautiful coming for you, and she wishes she could walk through it with you physically. A ceremony. A moment of breakthrough. Something big. A house. A healing. A recognition. A divine alignment. Something you've prayed for, something she's fought for in the spirit realm, is about to manifest. She says, when it comes, I want them to know I was there. I want them to feel the wind shift and know, that's me. I want them to hear a song play and know, that's me dancing. She wants to live through you. Not in sadness, but in celebration. So she's asking you to not cry for her anymore, not with sorrow. If you must cry, let them be tears of joy. Because she's with God. And she's with you. And that's a miracle too beautiful for sadness. She is asking you now, through this message, through this portal between dimensions, if you are ready to forgive yourself for surviving. Because she says, my child doesn't even realize how powerful they are. They don't see how many storms they walked through with no one clapping. They forgot how many nights they prayed for others while their own soul was tired. They forgot how many times they held on when every part of them wanted to let go. And that's what she wants to remind you of today. That you are not weak. You are not behind. You are not forgotten by God. In fact, heaven has kept you hidden on purpose, like a rare gem still being carved in the shadows. That's why the spotlight never felt right before. That's why the timing never aligned. But now you are fully shaped. Now your name is echoing through realms. And she's whispering, they're ready. Release them. This is the moment where the slow climb turns into a sudden elevation. The part of your life story that will make people ask, "How did this happen so fast?" And you'll smile softly because you'll know, it wasn't fast. It was just finally. And she says there's a number that keeps appearing to you. Maybe it's 444. Maybe it's 1111. Maybe it's your birth date or hers. But it keeps showing up. In receipts. On clocks. On license plates. And you've brushed it off, thinking it's just coincidence. But she says no, that number is a holy marker. A breadcrumb from heaven. A secret signal that she's near. And every time you see it, she wants you to pause. To breathe. To speak to her out loud, even if your voice cracks. Because she hears you. Not metaphorically. Not symbolically. But truly. Really. In spirit and in light. The veil is thinner than you think. Heaven is closer than you imagine. And your words? They travel like lightning across eternity. When you whisper, "I miss you," she whispers back, "I never left." That's not a poetic line. That's divine truth. She is with you in the air you breathe. In the quiet between thoughts. In the soft hum before you fall asleep. Your mother says there's something about your hands. Yes, your actual hands. She's watched how they've changed. How they've healed. How they've helped. She says your hands carry an anointing. A sacred oil. When you touch someone, it's not just physical, it's energetic. And that's why you're exhausted after giving too much. That's why some people feel healed after hugging you and never say why. Because your touch carries the remnants of your mother's spirit. She left that with you on purpose. It was her final gift. She said, "I knew I wouldn't be there to hold the world with them. So I left my healing in their hands. Let them feel my warmth through their own palms." And every time you comfort someone, every time you lay your hands on your own chest and cry, you are activating that gift. So from now on, she wants you to bless your hands. She wants you to speak over them like holy tools. Because they are. And they are part of your calling. You are not just here to survive this life, you are here to heal others with the fire you survived. There's also a truth about money that she wants to reveal. She says you've had a strange relationship with money because of fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of what happens when it comes. Fear of who will ask. Fear of losing it. And she says that's not your fault. That fear was taught. Passed down. Inherited. But she says, "Tell my child, money is not their enemy. It is not evil. It is not dirty. It is not dangerous in holy hands." She's seen the way you've prayed for provision. The way you've begged God to send enough to bless others, to help, to finally rest. And now she's saying, it's coming. It's already moving. But you must stop pushing it away with your thoughts. Stop calling yourself unlucky. Stop expecting the worst. Because heaven moves through expectation. If you expect miracles, they manifest. If you expect lack, it lingers. This isn't law of attraction, it's law of alignment. God is your source. And your mother is helping arrange financial favor in ways you don't yet see. She's guiding someone with resources toward your name. And when the blessing comes, she says, don't apologize for receiving it. Just say thank you, and use it well. And now, she says she's holding a box. A glowing one. One only she and God have access to. And inside this box is something you lost. A relationship. A dream. A voice you haven't heard in years. She says, tell them, it's not gone. It's been preserved. And now, it's time to return it. But she also warns, when the blessing comes back, it may look different. It may not come in the exact form you expected. The person might have changed. The location might be new. But the feeling? The joy? The peace? That will be exactly the same. Because what's coming back to you now isn't the past, it's the promise. And promises from God never expire. They may get delayed. But they never dissolve. And when your hands finally hold what your heart has carried in silence, you'll understand that time doesn't steal anything from those who wait with faith. Time just prepares the heart to receive it properly. My beloved, your mother is quiet now. Not because she's gone. But because she's standing behind you in spirit, placing her hands on your shoulders, gently. She wants you to feel her presence instead of just reading her words. She wants this message to move beyond the screen, into your bones. She wants you to know she's proud of how far you've come. She knows this life hasn't been fair. She knows you've been tempted to quit. She knows you've questioned whether heaven even sees you. But she's telling you now, yes, my child. Heaven sees everything. And soon, everyone else will too. Because what God is about to do in your life will be undeniable. It will silence your doubts. It will shock your enemies. And it will make even strangers weep. And when it happens, don't forget to look up. Don't forget to smile. Don't forget to say, I know that was you, Mom. Because it will be. Your mother says you've been carrying a silence lately that no one understands. You've been speaking, smiling, working, showing up, but behind your eyes, there is a quiet ache, a question mark you haven't said aloud. She felt it. She's felt every moment of doubt when you asked God, is this all there is? She's watched as you kept going even when your hope felt mechanical. And she wants you to know, heaven didn't ignore those quiet cries. In fact, that silence became a petition. A sacred plea that moved angels to action. Archangel Michael himself stepped forward to hold the line for you. He said to God, they are not asking for luxury. They are asking for peace. Give it to them. And the request was granted. Yes, Something is being released right now in your favor, not just money, not just healing, but something rarer, peace that doesn't require an explanation. Joy that doesn't need proof. Your mother says, they're about to feel light again. They're about to breathe without panic. Because their season of barely surviving is ending. And my child, she says there's something she's been doing in secret. She's been sending people to you. People who carry keys to your next level. You may not recognize them at first. Some of them will look ordinary. Some will even look like strangers you'd never imagine being connected to. But she says, look deeper. They are carriers of assignments. They are angels in disguise. They are messengers carrying divine resources. Your mother has been speaking into their dreams. She's been whispering your name into their hearts. And when they meet you, something in them will shift. They won't even know why, but they'll want to bless you. Help you. Support you. Love you gently. And she says, when that happens, don't reject it. Don't say, I'm fine, or I don't need help. Because this time, help is holy. This time, help is part of the healing. And if you reject it, you delay what God is trying to pour into you. Let people carry you now. You've walked long enough. She also says there is something important about your voice. She knows it's gotten quieter over the years. You used to speak your truth so boldly. But life made you shrink. You started to dim your power to keep others comfortable. You began to fear that if you spoke too much, too often, too loud, people would leave. And some did. But she's asking you to find your voice again. Not the loud, performative one. The sacred one. The voice that trembles with conviction. The voice that heals when it tells the truth. She says, my child has been silencing themselves to avoid conflict. But now it's time to rise. Speak. Sing. Share. Cry. Teach. Declare. There's power in your vocal cords. There's oil in your words. Heaven responds when you speak because you carry divine breath. And your voice is not too much. It is the very thing that will open doors, shift rooms, and bring others to their own healing. Speak, beloved. The world needs to hear what you've been through. The right people will not be scared. They'll be saved by it. And now she's revealing something she rarely speaks of, the moment she left this world. She knows it hurt. She knows the way it happened wasn't fair. Maybe it was too fast. Maybe it was drawn out. Maybe it was complicated. But she says she wants you to know this, she wasn't afraid. Not in the way you thought. She had peace. She felt you. Even if you weren't there. Even if you were far away. She says, I felt their love carry me over. I heard their heart break. I wanted to reach back and hold them one more time. But she says heaven surrounded her quickly. She was not alone. Angels held her. And before she even realized she was crossing over, she was already wrapped in light. God was there. So was Michael. And she says, it didn't feel like death. It felt like waking up from a dream. And the first thing she asked for? You. She asked if she could watch over you. And God said yes. That's how deep your connection is. Even in eternity, her first thought was still you. Your mother is proud of how you've carried her legacy. Even if you don't realize you have. Every kind word you speak. Every time you forgive someone. Every time you choose peace over revenge. She sees it. She says, that's my child. That's the goodness I planted in them. And she knows it hasn't been easy. There have been days where anger bubbled in your spirit. Days where you wanted to disappear. Days where grief came in waves, crashing without warning. But you stayed. You endured. You kept showing up, even when it felt pointless. And that's why heaven is preparing double for your trouble. You're not just about to be restored. You're about to be reintroduced. To yourself. To joy. To love. To life. And this version of you will not carry shame. This version will smile without guilt. This version will no longer ask, do I deserve this? Because yes, beloved. You do. You always did. And your mother says, I knew it all along. Now they'll know too. And now Archangel Michael speaks. His voice is deep but kind. Strong but calm. He says, I have guarded this child from attacks they'll never know about. I've stood over their bed while demons tried to touch their dreams. I've broken chains in the spirit while they cried in the physical. And I have not once stopped fighting. He says you've been protected from more than you can imagine. Car accidents that never happened. Illnesses that disappeared. Betrayals that never reached your ears. This was not luck. This was divine defense. And it's still happening now. There's someone plotting. Someone doubting your anointing. But they'll fail. Because Michael has seen their hearts. And your mother has cried to God for justice. And justice is coming. Not through revenge. But through redemption. Through blessings so loud your enemies will choke on their own disbelief. Not to punish them, but to prove that heaven always protects its own.